How concerned should we be about quantum computing? And how much of a threat is it to Bitcoin? Welcome back, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. I didn't think that we would be seeing the quantum computing FUD again for a little while, but I guess it's back. So let's dive into it, because with a new cycle, there's going to be a whole bunch of noobs. And if there are noobs that are watching this channel and they haven't heard the quantum computing FUD, then you may want to pay attention, because this is not a new theme in Bitcoin. I still remember this from 2 cycles ago, where there was like a massive marketing campaign around how quantum computing is going to destroy Bitcoin and it's going to stop it. Okay. And of course, right, the only way to fix it is with some shitcoin that is quote unquote quantum computing resistant. Yeah. Anyways. All right, let's dive into this story because I think it's pretty funny. Here we go. So it starts off with a tweet from Daniel Batten. Here we go. Okay, for the people who don't know who Daniel is, he is the co-founder, CH4 Capital, clean tech investor, writer of the Bitcoin ESG forecast. Anyways, let's dive into it. Here we go. New attack vector incoming. It will be Bitcoin, which uses a pre-quantum computing consensus mechanism called proof of work, is not resilient against quantum computing attacks. Get ready. P.S. If you have expertise on this issue and want to write the truth about it for academic publication, DM me. We're assembling a team as we speak. So fantastic. Obviously, I'm always happy when I see stuff like this happen, because hey, there's going to be a massive narrative push around quantum computing and how Bitcoin can't withstand it. And in typical Bitcoiner fashion, we're going to most likely have some absolutely amazing rebuttals. But wait, Phil, didn't this narrative already get played out? Shouldn't we already have a whole bunch of rebuttals for this? We do. We do. But before we dive into those, we're gonna go into some background, because you see, Daniel is writing this very specifically for a certain group. The attack vector has been around for a while. What's different now is the EU central banks have picked this vector to be one of the 2 booster rockets to get, here we go, CBDCs into orbit. Oh my gosh, no way. We're shocked. Yeah. They are never going to stop desiring control. Governments, at some point you need to realize that a government has to continually grow, okay, in order to stay in business, because it doesn't actually provide any value. So what it has to do is suck as many resources out of the system as possible. And essentially the best way to do that is to create constant narratives where the government is the protagonist, right? And everybody else is the antagonist, and of course, the benevolent government will save us. So this is a very simple answer and is correct, right? From OB_HODL. If you don't follow him, I think you should. Great account. If quantum computing breaks cryptography, 1 Bitcoin will be the least of your worries. How do you think the whole financial system and infrastructure and nukes are secured? Yep, good point. And 2, quantum cryptography will exist. Bitcoin forks, problem solved. And you could see Daniel responds back and goes, correct, it's a ludicrous argument, but because most of the population don't know what you know, it's a piece of FUD that the BIS have settled with. And you're saying, Phil, I haven't seen anything from the BIS on this. Say hello to Project Leap. That's right. Quantum proofing the financial system. And you can see here, this is from the BIS website. Oh my gosh, we are surprised. Let's dive into this. Project Leap was launched by the BIS Innovation Hub's Eurosystem Center together with the Bank of France and Deutsche Bundesbank. The project partners with the Eurosystem to prepare central banks and the global financial system for a transition towards quantum resistant encryption. So I want you guys to think about this, right? The banking system, which has never, ever pushed any technology in any way, shape, or form because it just doesn't need to, because it has a moat. All of a sudden, these benevolent bankers, they're innovating. These guys are innovators. They're pushing the envelope of what we can do. And of course, it's going to be for our safety, okay? Always for our safety, guys. Now we're going to build out the FUD. Why quantum computers represent a cyber threat to financial data. So forget about the fact that the government is a KYC honeypot and that our information gets exposed constantly online 24/7. It doesn't matter because it's the quantum computers that represent a cyber threat to financial data. Quantum computers, should they reach sufficient size and power, may be able to break the encryption schemes widely used today to ensure secure financial transactions and data. This is not a lie. It is true. Okay, because pretty much everything is based on SHA-256 encryption at this point. So yes, if quantum computing breaks the most powerful encryption models that we have today, it's not just Bitcoin that you need to worry about. Okay, it's not just your financial data that you need to worry about. This has way bigger implications for everything. Anyways, this makes quantum computing one of the most important cybersecurity threats facing the financial system, potentially exposing all financial transactions and much of our existing stored financial data to attack. Let me just remind you, though. Let me just remind you all of the data breaches that we've seen, number one. Number two, just remind you that KYC, as we have it now, right, hasn't actually stopped any of the data breaches from occurring or criminals doing anything that they want to do. It doesn't stop them in any way. What it does is it provides a checklist for them. So this idea that somehow implementing this quantum resistant tech is going to essentially make us safer, make our financial data safer. Yeah, I find that a tough pill to swallow. But of course, right, the benefits of this tech won't come without us giving a little bit more of our freedom, right? You just, look, we can give you this tech, but you're just going to have to give up a little more freedom. Anyways, let's continue because there is more to this. Just to help solidify the FUD, we've got this amazing graph right here. Recognition in 1994, there was a recognition that a functional quantum computer could break current cryptography. Okay, now check this out. Look at what they did. Data are exposed to harvest now, decrypt later attacks, 1994 to today. All right, so here we're in 2024, 30 years. Okay, 30 years of data. So somebody's hanging on to this 30 years of data and they're going to come back to it and they're going to decrypt it when the technology is there. Because we all know that the value of that 30-year-old data is most likely just as precious as it is today. It's just so weird. But again, it's not about any of this making sense. It's about what it does is it helps create the idea that there is an urgent need, okay, for some type of urgent action, okay, that must take place. Anyways. And so here we go, right? Then we have the availability of the quantum computer and boom, that just destroys everything. We are hosed. But we are not hosed if we follow this plan, standardization process of post-quantum cryptography, migration to post-quantum cryptography. Data are protected. The benevolent bankers alongside the government, they're protecting us. They're doing great. It's good stuff. And look, it's all summed up in this chart. So as long as we do what we're told, this thing here at the end, right, with the exclamation point doesn't happen to us, okay? We get to avoid the exclamation point. This was January 10th, okay? That is this year, January 10th, 2024. Now we're going to back it up because, of course, this didn't all just start today. They've been feeding us this nonsense for a while. Here we are, June 2022. BIS Innovation Hub announces new projects and expands cybersecurity and green finance experiments. Phil, what does securing a ledger against quantum computing have to do with climate change? Well, the benevolent dictators, they're going to tell us. Eurosystem Center projects will explore cryptocurrency markets, the implication of post-quantum cryptography for payment systems, and climate-related disclosures. Now, this whole time, I've been explaining to you something that has absolutely nothing to do with the climate change myth. And yet, somehow, securing data against quantum-resistant attacks has something to do with climate change. Now, if you don't think that that's completely insane, then you're going to fit right into this dystopian future. But if you, for whatever reason, decide that you want to critically think here, you'll see that this makes no sense at all and that these people are completely insane. Okay? They are completely insane. Anyways, so more stuff. Cybersecurity project will include a partnership with Israel's central bank. Hub expands green finance and RegTech subtech portfolio. I love the buzzwords, right? Because this is most likely regulation tech, and I don't know what the hell soup tech or sup tech is, but who cares? It's just garbage, nonsense words that are meant to make you feel more safe and the warm and fuzzies. The Innovation Hub will also expand its portfolio in areas of green finance. Here we are again, guys, fighting quantum computing with climate change and supervisory and regulatory technology. Oh, okay. That's what that is. I'm sorry. That's what that shit is. Supervisory technology. Anyways. Okay. So these are the stupid buzzwords they're creating out of this. The first 3 Eurosystem projects are now, listen closely, guys. This is the fun part, okay? They're solving the big problems. Here we go. The collapse of many stablecoins and decentralized finance DeFi lending platforms has highlighted the difficulty in assessing their risks and economic potential. The irony of this is that Bitcoiners have been calling these things shitcoin rug pulls from the beginning. So this idea that these stable coins and these DeFi platforms are highlighting the difficulty of their potential risks, that's only because this group of people need power and control. So they need the average peon to think that there is a massive problem that people can't figure out, which is not the case. It's really easy to tell when it's a fucking rug pull. Anyways, here we go. Here's the reason. One reason is that most data on asset backing, trading volumes, and market capitalization is self-reported by unregulated firms. That's the problem. It's self-regulation. You know, quantum computing can really fix self-regulate. No, it doesn't. Okay. Anyways, individual data sets and commercially available solutions do not provide comprehensive insights and lack transparency. The Bitcoin blockchain is transparent. But I'll tell you one thing that won't be. Whatever quantum resistant ledger, whatever shitcoin the BIS comes up with, that's not going to be transparent. I mean, it's going to be transparent to them, right? Because they need to police their blockchain. But it won't be transparent to any of us. But we will be the victims of whatever they decide to impose based on that transparency. That's just obvious. Okay, the second thing, post-quantum cryptography, securing the privacy of payment systems. Quantum computers may be capable of breaking the cryptography used by central banks and the private financial sector and secure payments and settlement systems. This threatens the confidentiality and could undermine the integrity of payment systems. Given the long-term sensitivity of financial data, this vulnerability must be addressed well in advance of the advent of quantum computing. I'm going to back us up. All right, we're going back to Y2K. That's right. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people at this point that were not around in 2000. And if they were super young and don't remember what happened. But for Gen Xers, right, old bags like me, I was like 19 years old, 20 years old when this happened. So all we heard was concern trolling from every institution and media outlet. Guys, the rockets were going to just fire on their own. Planes were going to crash out of the sky. Medical systems were going to fail instantly if we didn't do something and we didn't fix something. You guys have no idea. So anyways, there was so many people that were hired. People got paid tons of money to update all kinds of code, do all kinds of things. Spoiler alert. Y2K. I still remember that evening. Okay? It became the year 2000. And I know this is going to sound crazy. Absolutely nothing happened. But I'll tell you what did happen. A lot of people got paid to do a lot of work that didn't need to be done. Okay, and there was a lot of concern trolling. Now, of course, you could say, well, Phil, the Y2K stuff wasn't used to implement, something like this. Sure, it wasn't. But it taught us an important lesson about how we are very poor at assessing actual concerns, number one. Number two, we're really too quick to follow these corporate-owned narratives because they depict certainty. And people don't want to know the truth about something The average person wants to feel certain, and they want to believe that they can trust experts. So that's what this really is all about. So anyways, the whole point is that nothing happened. Y2K was a giant nothing burger, but that doesn't mean that people don't learn lessons from those particular situations and decide, hey, we can use the same type of concern trolling to forward our useless garbage agenda. Increasing the transparency of climate-related disclosures. What? Central banks are increasingly looking into how climate change may affect financial stability, inflation, and other issues within their mandate. Okay, so look, this is bullshit. Okay, this straight up, it is complete, absolute bullshit. There is not any dimension of reality where climate change somehow affects financial stability and inflation. This is crap. And I've told you guys this in the past, okay? I worked for a telemarketing room when I was a kid. Mandates don't mean anything. Mandate is a word that scammers use to get you into a time-sensitive decision that you must make on the spot. That is done on purpose. The use of this word is meant to conjure up the idea of immediate response. This person, by law, has been told to enforce something and I must comply. No, you don't. A mandate means nothing. It has no legal power. It's nothing. These are just words. It's garbage. Anyways, sorry, this stuff really pisses me off. Important data gaps and inconsistencies in data collection make their task more difficult. This project aims to build an open source database of corporate reports coupled with full text search engine to identify sustainability related disclosures. Machine learning and natural language processing tools will then be used to organize and structure this data. So guys, look, SQL databases already exist. This is all bullshit. This is simply meant to create another layer of control. That's all this is. Here's that CBDC talk again. More cybersecurity for a retail CBDC. Most central banks researching retail CBDCs try to emulate the traditional model known as the two-tier architecture in which money is provided to the public via intermediaries such as banks and payment service providers, building on the Bank of Israel's strength in cybersecurity and the HKMA learnings from the earlier Orem project. Cella will explore technological solutions to allow intermediaries to provide CBDCs to users without the related financial exposure. What? Reducing risks and costs in the process combined with a strong focus on cybersecurity. I mean, okay, so look, they just want to hand you some monitoring money, right? Just give you some tracking coin so that they can create a whole bunch of excuses why you can't spend money or why you could only spend a certain amount in a certain place. And anyways, this is all just total nonsense. Okay, wrapping up this article. Green bonds with digitized mitigation outcome interests. Ooh, those words sound promising. The Hong Kong Center will also start the development of a new prototype for phase 2 of its green finance project, Genesis, in collaboration with the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So if you haven't figured out that CBDCs are again going to be used, number one, to attack Bitcoin with quantum computing FUD, number two, to help push the climate change agenda. Anyways, in this new phase, blockchain, smart contracts, and other related technologies will be used for the tracking, delivery, and transfer of so-called digitized mitigation outcome interests. What, Phil? That's right. Digitized mitigation outcome interests. I'm actually going to start to use that word. I'm going to create my own little acronym, DMOI. There you go. I don't know. That's not really a word, but either way, it sounds like it's going to do amazing things, right? Mitigation outcome interests, digitized mitigation outcome interests. Anyways, de facto carbon credits recognized under national, what? Carbon credits again? So I actually did a clip a while back. I'll see if I can add it here, essentially debunking the entire usefulness of carbon credits. I mean, not that you couldn't figure out that some random piece of paper that doesn't actually do anything, that just simply calls itself a carbon credit, was fucking useless to begin with. Yeah, I actually went and got supporting information to prove that carbon credits don't do anything. De facto carbon credits recognized under national verification mechanisms compliant with the Paris Agreement attached to a bond. So a shitcoin of a shitcoin that essentially gives a whole bunch of people a bunch of fiat money for taking place in virtue signaling with carbon credits. Okay, anyways, yeah, this is, guys, this is definitely the next phase of Then They Fight You. There are so many multiple phases. So the essential question is, can quantum computing actually defeat SHA-256? Well, let's dive into it. A hash function that produces 256-bit outputs is not expected to be threatened by quantum computing, even using Grover's algorithm. It is currently believed to be essentially impossible to break a hash function like SHA-256. However, password hashing is at a higher risk because the space for users' passwords is not very large. So, guys, we saw this quantum computing stuff way back when. Now, it's very interesting because now what's going to happen, and what is happening, is that they're going to essentially, the BIS is using quantum computing FUD along with climate change FUD in order to bring on the use of a CBDC. This is, I gotta say, I did not see this in the 2024 playbook. I thought that the quantum computing FUD was done. I thought it was dead already, but apparently not. And apparently it is the no coiner establishment that thinks that this is a fudding point. Now, in all reality, when it comes to the average person who isn't really familiar with all of this stuff, yes, it probably is going to be a fudding point, and you are going to see people sit there and say, oh, well, Bitcoin can be hacked because of SHA-256 not being strong enough to withstand quantum computing attacks. So look, the truth is that the people that are making this FUD, okay, they're just doing it in order to attempt to dismantle Bitcoin in the laziest way they possibly can. But the truth of the matter is that so much of our world would be affected by the actual breaking of the SHA-256 algorithm that Bitcoin's the least of our concerns. It kind of reminds me of the FUD where people sit there and go, well, you can't use Bitcoin as money because what if the world's power goes out? I mean, really? Like, you think anybody's going to give a shit about anything that uses electricity when the world's power goes out? Like, that's your whole thing. So I want people to really think about this and internalize this. You need all of the power in the world, all the electricity in the world to cease functioning in order for Bitcoin to fail. And you think that that's a rational argument. Anyways, guys, this is what we're up against. Okay, this is what we're up against. Let me know what you think. Does quantum computing destroy Bitcoin? Put it in the comments. That's our show for today. Catch you all tomorrow.